Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Football, TITTH number 176. I'm your host, Justin Bruni, but I've got Emron Khan with me this morning. Happy Sunday, sir. Welcome to week 3. How are you?
I am pumped, sir. Thank you for welcoming me to week 3. Today is also, as we can see in just a minute on your jersey, to the first day of the Justin Fields era. That mic is perfect in the middle. You can't see anything.
Oh, you can't see the one?
No, like literally, there you go. Now,
yeah, I was gonna have the Soldier Field up behind me today, but I just could not get the green screen to cooperate with me this morning, so just went back to the classic sports book. My head was bouncing all over the place, but yeah, man, excited to jump into week 3. We had exciting Thursday night football again, so that was good. Kind of came down to the wire there towards the end of the game, but was a good watch. Most of the way through. How are we looking for best bets today? Anything that you have at the top of your priority list?
Yeah, so I'm trying a new philosophy this week. Last week I did a lot of parlays, my normal parlays in the games, and it was kind of going all over the place. I think what I'm going to start doing now, I still did a couple of those, but I'm really focusing on these same game parlays, these games I feel really good about that I think are going to be shootouts or I feel strongly about a team. So what I did this week is that I feel really good about. I did a same game parlay with the Ravens and the Lions. Okay. So I got anytime touchdowns for Lamar. So Lamar's got to run it in or catch it. Tyson Williams, DeAndre Swift, and I did the alternate spread for the Ravens as long as they win by 3 or more. It's it's 12, almost 13-1 odds. So my $10 wager pays me $135.
Well, let's go, man. I like that a lot. So alt spread plus you need Lamar, Tyson, and Swift. You need all of that. Okay.
Yep.
I don't hate those. I think we can definitely take advantage there. I'm big on the Bears game. I saw you have the Bears as a money line upset. Love the plus money, but I even love the points even more. Plus 7.5. So I'm taking the Bears and the Cardinals on their spreads. I like the Cardinals at minus 7.5, and I like the Bears at plus 7.5. And then I have a prop with Zack Pasquel over 3.5 catches, plus Allen Robinson over 4.5 catches. That pays plus 261. Really love the value there. I think Robinson is in line for a good amount of work today. I think Fields is going to run a lot, but I think he's going to find his top target early and often. Zack Pasquel has been a favorite of Carson Wentz. Whether Wentz, plays this entire game, it sounds like he's going to suit up. But even if he doesn't, I still like the upside for Pasquel to go over 3.5 catches. He's been like their guy so far, him and Michael Pittman. So really like both of those plays. Let's move on here. Jumping into some injury updates here. Emron, you want to go over the not expected to play players?
Yeah, sure thing. So this week, unfortunately, we're a couple weeks into the season and people are starting to get banged up now, right? Mm-hmm. So this week, unfortunately, it looks like T. Higgins, Jamison Crowder are not going to play. Getting reports also of Josh Jacobs. He might miss a second game in a row, so expect a lot of Kenyon Drake action there. And looks like this is there's some information coming in about Dalvin Cook also maybe banged up. That's a big one to watch as well.
Doesn't look like he's going to play.
Yeah, if you have Madison, start him. And this is the big thing we always talk about, right? When you're drafting one of these premier running backs, right? Your Dalvin Cooks, your Alvin Kamaras, your CMCs. You got to have that insurance policy. And it may feel like it sucks, but you're in a situation like this where obviously there's a drop off from Cook to Madison, but it's a lot worse if you go from Cook to whatever you're scrounging up from the waiver wire, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't love Alexander Madison this week with Dalvin Cook out. Mm-hmm. It sounds like he's unlikely to play. If he does play, he would be on a very low snap count and he would still eat into Madison's work. But I want a more KJ Osborne this week than I want Alexander Madison. Ooh, yeah. I think he's going to be a bigger factor in the game than Madison. And then the last one there was Elijah Mitchell, who is not expected to play. Maybe he gets in there, but it sounds like it's going to be a Trey Sermon type of day. Maybe we'll get to a little bit of Trey Sermon talk later in the show. So for the guys that are ruled out, we've got Russell Gage, Deontay Johnson, Tyrell Williams. We didn't really care about that. Tevin Coleman, kind of same thing. Tua Tagovailoa. JaMychal Hasty, Antonio Brown with COVID. It's unfortunate. And Andy Dalton as well, obviously rocking the number 1 today. Game time decisions. I've got Kenny Galladay, Darnell Mooney, DeAndre Swift, and Marquise Brown. I think all of those guys are going to be just fine. They should all suit up. Expected to play, a couple of question marks here. Evan Ingram, Yonani, Evan Ingram, Emron.
I think only in our dynasty league.
Yeah, I got no Evan Ingram this year. DeAndre Hopkins, that's a really interesting one. I'm going to be following that closely as we get closer to kickoff here. And then Carson Wentz and Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Carson Wentz is fine to play, it sounds like he's going to play. Like, I don't think we should be really all that concerned.
No.
We got Aaron in the chat saying Lamar Jackson 45 and the Lions 10. Sounds like Aaron's taking the over.
We'll talk about that game in a second, but I think those Lions are a little pesky, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into our week 3 previews, we are going to jump through the morning flex. So first up, we've got Ryan Tannehill versus Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford gets the Buccaneers, and Tannehill is getting the Seahawks. Which way are you leaning here?
Oh, Tannehill actually played the Colts this week.
I'm sorry.
They got Seattle last week. Yeah. Which was another shootout.
Vikings, Seattle, my bad.
Yeah, no, all good. I think I'm going to go with Stafford. I think this Rams-Bucks game is going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be points in droves. I think Tannehill will have a decent game, but I'm really on this game being nuts with the Rams and the Bucks.
I don't know. I kind of like Tannehill this week. I feel like Matt Stafford and Tom Brady, like, we're all expecting fireworks. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, I expect a fair amount of scoring, but the total in that game is 55.5, and there's still a lot of defense available in that game. You know, obviously with the Rams, you know, you got the big names, you know, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, but a lot of people are, you know, watching Kenny Young go unnoticed, Troy Reader, our boy Leonard Floyd over there. He's getting Darius Williams. He's really coming along in their secondary as well. So I like Stafford this week, but I also feel like, you know, he could put the ball on the ground once or twice. He could get intercepted, maybe even a pick six. So I'm going to lean towards Tannehill, who I feel like has kind of just been warming up these first couple of weeks. He was a guy that I feel, you know, really missed out on not having enough preseason snaps in the actual games. Maybe someone that was, you know, not rewarded from the one less preseason game, right? So I think he's in line for a big day today. I'm going to go Tannehill over Stafford just because I feel like the matchup is just a little bit better.
Gotcha.
All right, next up we got Matt Ryan versus Joe Burrow. I like Joe Burrow here. I actually think the Bengals are going to upset today. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow as well. I was going back and forth on this one because I thought the Falcons matchup against the Giants is decent. Giants defense is sneaky. It's not awful and it's not great. It's kind of in the middle. But the Steelers, I'm a little concerned about. Big Ben's been hobbled up, right? I think Deontay Johnson's supposed to be out this week as well. But Burrow, you know, he had a really weird game last week that I've never really seen before. He threw an interception on 3 straight passes, and then he threw a touchdown on 2 straight passes. You know, so I like Burrow. Steelers have been always a challenge for him. I think he only played him once last year, but it was a struggle. But I really believe in the Bengals offense. And even if the Steelers get up on him top, right, like we saw last week, he's going to throw it to Jamar Chase and everybody that was worried about him catching the ball. They've been really quiet the last couple of weeks. He's electric, and I'm really big for it. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I'm going Joe Burrow there as well. It's an easy pick for me. Matt Ryan, super inconsistent last week. Those 2 picks blew my live cover of that game. I took the Falcons live plus 16.5, and those 2 drives killed me. I was just
were giving the Bucs all they could handle for most of the game.
Number? Yeah, they were down by 3 at one point, man. I was like, lock it up, secure the bag. Go Pack, go. Wrong show.
Get out of here, Will. Will's one of my best friends. We'll talk about the Niners and Packers a little bit later.
Much later, actually, into the show sheet is at least is how it's lined up. It's the second to last game. All right, next one up here, we got James Robinson versus Kenyon Drake versus Devante Smith. I think I'm liking Kenyon Drake this week out of that bunch. Sounds like Josh Jacobs is doubtful again. He has an active role when Jacobs is there, gets a little bit extra touches when he's not. What do you think?
Same. We saw week 1 when Jacobs was healthy. He's the pass receiving back, right? And last week, even when Peyton Barber was getting rushes, he was going to catch a lot of balls. And like I said, they signed him this offseason. They paid him a decent chunk of change. He was always going to be a part of this offense. So I expect the same thing here. And I like this Dolphins matchup too, where Dolphins secondary is pretty decent, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of dump-offs and a lot of Darren Waller today. So I expect a really good game for Drake. Smith is also very sneaky. I think he could get a big touchdown tomorrow. I really think so. He could get a 50, 60-yarder against that Dallas secondary, but I think Drake's the safe play here.
Yeah, the Eagles have been targeting Devante Smith and Jalen Reagor downfield pretty consistently through these first two games. So I'm excited to see what they bring there.
Yep.
And yeah, I would say Devante Smith between these three is a very close second. It really just depends on your roster and your matchup, obviously. James Robinson, I'd like him to be a nice start. I really would. I would like Urban Meyer to really use this guy. Just refuses to do it. Can't trust him. Won't do it.
Yeah, and for us, we're big Robinson fans. It's not because of the talent that we're not picking him. It's really the situation in Jackson, which makes zero sense. We all thought with ETN going down, all right, Robinson's going to eat again another 1,100-yard year.
Nope.
He can catch the ball too. That team is just clueless
Urban
right
Meyer
now.
hates him. He just loves Carlos Hyde. He loves his guys. We're going to roll through the chat here. We got a couple of questions. We got Big VA asking about what you feel about the Patriots today. I feel good. I think they're going to cover the points. I think they're going to win. I think something looks like Emron's agreeing. We'll get to that, preview here later in the show. And then we got Orlos. Jimmy, good morning, sir. Happy football Sunday. Yes, sir. Quick flex question. Who would you start? Melvin Gordon, Cortland Sutton, or Odell Beckham Jr.? Right off the get, I like Sutton, but we need to know if it's PPR or if it's standard.
I would agree with that. Gordon and Sutton on the same team. Obviously, they're both going against the Jets. Gordon's got to deal with, Javonte Williams breathing down his neck. Sutton can eat on that secondary, so I'd probably go with Sutton. Odell's an interesting play because we know the Bears have given big touchdowns, but his first game back in a year, he's going to have Jalen Johnson duty, who's been one of the best lockdown corners in the league. If Landry was there, I think actually that would have helped Odell spread the field. I think we got to give him a couple weeks to get back in the swing of things. So I'm going to go Sutton. Probably Sutton, Gordon, and Beckham in that order.
Yep. So Jimmy did say it was PPR. So yeah, definitely going with Sutton there. OBJ is on my hate list, not starting him. Jalen Johnson is absolutely on fire, and he's just the only guy. He's going to be left on an island. The Bears are going to take care of him. Quick work for the Bears. We got Sawyer Hebbs in the chat saying 2 questions, Sutton or Carson in the flex, PPR. Second is Javonte Williams or OBJ in standard. I'm going Williams and going Sutton again. I still like Sutton. I don't trust the Seahawks to ground and pound the ball probably till the second half of the season when we all assume that they're going to be passing.
Yeah. So I'm going to go a little oppo. I'm going to actually go with Chris Carson in the flex. That game against the Vikings today, I think, is going to be a shootout. And I think not just running the ball, I think receiving the ball. I think there's some touchdown opportunities there for Carson. So I'm going to ride with Carson there. And in the standard, I'm going to go with Javonte Williams. It's a standard league, so receptions don't mean anything. So like we just talked about Odell, we're kind of worried about his first game back, after a year off. So I'll ride with Williams there.
Yeah, absolutely. Big VA back in the chat. Know that we're going to say the Bears, but the Browns are looking decent. Browns are banged up still. Browns are banged up. They don't have an elite quarterback. I'm not saying that we do yet, at least not there. But it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, so real quick on that, it's not that we're saying we're picking the Bears because we're homers, because the Browns looking decent. I'm not sure where they were looking decent. They blew a big lead in week 1 against the Chiefs, right? We understand that's the Chiefs. Last week when Tyrod Taylor was in, they were losing that game and they were struggling. They were down 14-7, and it wasn't until Davis Mills came in, and they spent a lot of money on that defense, and a lot of people, including me, thought they were a Super Bowl favorite. That defense, I don't know if they just haven't gelled together or what, but they gave up 21 points against the Texans, who were just held to 6-9 against the Panthers, right? So, and Baker's banged up. There's no Landry. So, they're going to have their hands full today.
Yeah, and the Bears defense is a lot better than people suspect. Obviously, you look at that Rams game and you're like, well, they completely get torched. People saying they got the worst secondary in football. Just a complete overreaction.
Yeah.
They played one of the best teams in the NFL this year, week 1, right?
And it was 2 plays.
With our backup quarterback, in my opinion, you know what I mean? Like with the second tier quarterback starting, right? Now we're adding Fields, who's going to add another level with his legs. He's going to be able to keep drives and plays alive, extending, plays out of the pocket, etc. And he's a guy that's going to look downfield. Andy Dalton didn't attempt to pass beyond 15 yards before getting injured. Okay. Fields is a guy with a lot of confidence. He's young, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, and he's still going to look downfield to find his targets. Let's see. We got Delusional Tanner. Worried if he plays, will attempt to play. He will be a decoy on decoy duty only. I think he's talking about DeAndre Hopkins or
DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I think he's talking about D-Hop. Yeah.
Probably D-Hop. And then we got Craig, Jamal Williams or Hines. I'm going Hines in that one. Bounce back week.
Yeah, for Tanner, real quick, for his first question, he looks like he put in 2. Between Thielen or Swift, I'd probably go with Thielen. I think, again, that's going to be a shootout with the Seahawks. Neither defense is really good. I think we're going to see a lot of points there. And the second one with Hopkins, it's really worrying. Unfortunately, with that one, you just gotta watch the injury report. Unfortunately, and the old adage is right. You start your stars, you start your studs. So if he's healthy.
Half PPR, I'm going Thielen there. Sorry for missing that, Tanner, but we got it up here. And yeah, D-Hop, he could be used as a decoy, but I think he'll still have 4 or 5 catches.
And it's the Jags too. It's the Jags, so.
Right, exactly. All right, so we got all those. Let's get back to our question. We got Miles Sanders versus CEH versus Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown coming up on the injury report, a little bit banged up, but it looks like he's good to go. Honestly, I like Miles Sanders in this spot here. I mean, I know I've been dogging the Eagles the past couple of weeks, but they've been looking good. I like that matchup up against the Cowboys on Monday night. I think there's going to be a lot of points in that one. What do you think about these 3?
I would love to say Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think this is going to be another fun matchup against the Chargers, but it's been almost a year and 3 games, a year and a quarter, and he just has not been able to carve out a role. He had a really good, strong game 1, and then after that, it's been struggle city. So I'm going to have to go with Miles Sanders here as well. I think there's going to be a high-scoring game. I think a lot of catches and rushes for him are in order. Again, Hollywood Brown, also similar to what I said about Devante Smith earlier, against that Lions secondary, which is suspect as it is, and then Jeff Okuda's on IR now. I think Hollywood Brown can definitely get behind him too, but I'd go with Sanders, Brown, and then Hilaire.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I would go Sanders, Brown, Hilaire as well, so we're on the same page. A couple of names we've already been talking about. Allen Robinson, I'm taking his props today. Cortland Sutton versus Chris Carson. Those have been some popular names in the chat so far this morning. Out of this group, I think I like Sutton the most. The matchup up against the Jets is just very appetizing. If he could get even half of the production he had last week, I think he would be the guy to go with here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Carson. Again, I really like that matchup against that suspect Vikings defense. And then I'd go with Robinson. Robinson, like last week, after Fields came in, he already had a touchdown with Dalton, and they could have had a couple more. So I think he's going to get targeted heavily against the Browns, and I think Fields is going to be a little bit better than Bridgewater. Bridgewater plays it safe. He's playing really efficient. He's not really going down the field. So I'd probably go Carson, A-Rob, and then Sutton.
Right, gotcha. I got a little surprise here for everybody. Good morning, sunshine. There he is. We can't even hear him now. He's muted. He doesn't even know what's going on. It's all right. It's still early for Steve.
It's a scramble, yeah. You guys out there on the East Coast got a jump start. Let me get set up here, and you guys keep the show flowing.
All right, sounds good. You get it going. All right, so we got Tyler in the chat asking trade Kenyon Drake and Marvin Jones for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hell nah. I don't think so. No, don't do that.
No.
I don't even know if I would trade Marvin Jones himself for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
No, I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, someone that you buy low on right now, not buy. I think that trade is buying high because I'm pretty sure between the first 2 weeks, Drake has outscored Hilaire, and I think that's going to continue to happen because that running back. It was already a running back committee in Oakland, and with Jacobs out, it's pretty clear that Drake's going to keep getting these receptions. That's not going anywhere. So I would not do that trade. I mean, like Justin said, I don't know if I would do Marvin Jones. Hilaire, unfortunately, he's just a name at this point. If you can get him for low, sure, why not? But I'm not trading 2 for 1. No.
No, absolutely not. Not for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's a very, very buy low, and you're giving up the most. I don't like it. All right, next up we got Terry McLaurin versus Mike Williams versus Chase Edmonds. I think I like Mike Williams the most in this group. I know that he's going up against the Chiefs, going to be still a secondary target behind Keenan Allen, but Terry McLaurin draws the Bills. That's a tough matchup. And Chase Edmonds, he's still splitting work. I like Chase Edmonds, but I'd like the production to be a lot higher too. Yeah,
so I'm actually going to go with the best player among these 3. I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin. I don't like the matchup against the Bills. He's going against Trey White, but I think the football team is going to be trailing a little bit, so I think his volume is going to catch up. And this isn't anything new for McLaurin, right? Ever since he's been in the NFL, he's had to play with bad quarterbacks and be, the target of the opposing defenses. So I think I'm going to ride with Terry today. Second, I'm going to actually go with Chase Edmonds. I like that matchup against the Jags. I think there's a lot of PPR work in order, especially if DeAndre Hopkins is out or hobbled. And then Mike Williams is a close second because I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in this Chiefs matchup too.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I would go Williams, Edmonds, McLaurin. I just don't trust Heineke this week up against the Bills. Bills stomped on the Dolphins. I'm not saying Tua is a better quarterback, but they got to him early. They were able to bring a lot of pressure to Brissett. I don't like Heineke in this one. Heineke, man, the dude's got a fastball. He can heave it in there. He's got a ton of torque behind his passes. He just doesn't have any touch. You know, he can't really float any in there. You know what I mean? They're always like fastballs across the middle. So I expect Terry can grab a couple of those, playing catch down the middle of the field. But I like the upside of Mike Williams to score a couple of touchdowns, and I think Chase Edmonds might be able to find pay dirt as well. So that's just where I keep it. Is just the guys that have most upside to score a touchdown. Next up, we got a couple of tight ends. Looking at Noah Fant versus Kyle Pitts. This is a tough one for me. I mean, they're both ranked like top 10 tight ends this week by Fantasy Pros. Kyle Pitts has a good matchup, but he hasn't looked amazing. Noah Fant has looked good, but he's splitting work with Albert O. Like, I really can't make up my mind here, to be honest with you. I'm glad I don't have this problem.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Kyle Pitts here. Because I think he's the second target in that offense, and like we talked about earlier, the Giants defense is okay, but it's it's not the best. So I think his chances here are going to be a little bit better. So I'm going to ride with Kyle Pitts here. With Fant, I think he has an opportunity for a good game going against the Jets, and like we just talked about Teddy, right? Teddy doesn't like to really swing the ball downfield. He's more of an intermediate passer, which is where I think Fant can eat. But with Albert O and just the running backs there, I think I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I think I go with Kyle Pitts as well, just because the matchup up against the Jets, like they're probably going to be in garbage time, which means more Albert O playing time, less Noah Fant. No reason for Noah Fant to get hurt, who always gets hurt, to get hurt up against the Jets, right? Like there's no reason for that. So I would suspect a little bit less playing time for him today. Kyle Pitts, he's looked good, but not great. Certainly not worth the draft stock that people invested in, like that high top tier draft real estate. But I'll go with him. I don't feel good about it, but yeah, the matchup up against the Jets, I just feel like, Fant could catch a touchdown, but only have 2 catches, for like 8 yards and be done for the day, because they don't need him to beat the Jets. All right, we got Shamir Khan. I don't know, any relation there, Emron?
No relation.
He's asking Robinson or Tony. Assuming he's meaning Kadarius Toney, and I would say that Kadarius Toney probably isn't an option yet.
I think maybe Tony Pollard versus James Robinson, I think, is what I could make a little bit more sense. That would be a better question to ask. Yeah, and I think that's a good question, actually. I don't know what your situation is, Shamir, but I think Pollard, he's an electric player. I think we all like him. It's okay, so Tony Pollard versus James Robinson it is. Okay, so I think this is really tricky here because I don't know when Urban Meyer is going to figure out that James Robinson's a good running back. Maybe this week, right? Because he doesn't have a committee. He has nobody, with him. So in theory, it should be Robinson. But if you have to start one of the two, I'd actually go with Tony Pollard because I think it's a little bit safer because I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. He's got a role in that offense. And, it's Allen Robinson and Tony Pollard.
Allen Robinson.
Yeah, Allen Robinson. Yeah, I'd go with Allen Robinson. He's the number 1 receiver, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be a little more specific there, bud. But that's still good questions. Still good questions. All right, Stevie, we got you, bud. Are you here? Because you still look muted to me, bud.
Might have to take the mic setting. There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I'm just making rookie mistakes one after another.
It's all good. Late night fights.
Late night fights, and then I forgot that the East Coast difference. I thought maybe we started at like 9:35 or something.
Yeah, I hear you. I stayed up for that shit too. I'm on about 4 hours of sleep, probably less. So like usually I get up about 5 a.m. for the show. I did the 5:45, and I still went to bed after those fights ended. By the way, Brian Ortega, holy hell, guy can take a punch. Knows how to eat bricks. All right. Last tight end start sit we have is Rob Gronkowski versus Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, a bit of a slow start, we'll say, but I think it's a really good matchup for him this week. Rob Gronkowski just doing nothing but catching touchdowns, hanging out with Tom Brady, doing interviews with Pat McAfee, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning. Doesn't need to read a playbook.
Yeah, so for this one, I'm going to go with Gronk, man. It's like what I do with, when I'm gambling. You just got to ride it till it falls off. Gronk scoring touchdowns. This is a good matchup for a lot of points potentially. The Rams linebackers are not their strength at all, right? Their secondary and their D-line is. So I'm going to go with Gronk again. I think Andrews is a good matchup, but I mean, Gronk's producing, man. So you gotta ride that till it stops.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I mean, you just have Gronk, who's on an absolute tear, and it will, subside eventually. But I'm gonna ride him till it's done.
Yeah, for the sake of argument, I'll go opposite with Mark Andrews. Just really love the matchup this week. I think the way that we all believed that he was going to have a much better season. He did get his contract extension, but with the emergence of better receivers in the lineup, obviously we're still missing Bateman. The other one was hurt. Someone else, Miles Boykin's hurt too. Not like he makes a big difference or anything, but Sammy Watkins is looking good. Marquise Brown's looking good. I think they'll take off a little bit of extra pressure and allow Mark Andrews to find Pater for the first time this week. Still love Rob Gronkowski as well, especially with Antonio Brown out with COVID. Pitt defense or Cardinal defense? I will go with the Cardinals defense. Playing the Jaguars. A couple interceptions dialed up.
Yep.
All right, cool. So now that Steve's here, we can jump into Steve's week 3 start sits. Just in time.
There we go.
So we starting, Steve?
All right. So my first one, and I talked about this a bit. I believe that was on the Thursday show. But my first one up is Sterling Shepard. Yep. I think he draws a great matchup, honestly. So I got to ride with that. He's a clear-cut one over there, getting 19 targets a week. That'd be nice. For the first 2 weeks. I think it continues against Atlanta and what's probably going to be a shootout of shitty teams. So that's my first one. I'm going to ride Sterling Shepard. I like Juju this week now. I know earlier in the week I was asking you guys for advice on a situation that had Juju in it, but that was before the Deontay Johnson being ruled out went into effect. So now I think, if anything, this is the best game I see for Juju all year against the Bengals teams that loves to have shootout-like games. And he's going to be catching those short to intermediate slants, just a little over the field with Deontay Johnson out, paired with a pectoral injury that Big Ben has suffered. I don't see him taking too many deep shots down the field. So that's my first 2 start. And then I have Tyson Williams versus the Detroit Lions. I really don't know what it is for the Lions, but they cannot stop any opposing team's running back. Week 1, it was the Elijah Mitchell breakout, or Eli Mitchell breakout game. And he put up 104 yards. And then week 2, we saw it on Monday night, them just get absolutely just demolished by Aaron Jones over there. So I think Tyson Williams, he's hit over the 65-yard mark in every game, and I only can see that growing in this one. So those are my top 3 starts for the week. And now for the sits, we got Tyler Higby, another one who I talked about on a previous show. It's just one where he's going up against a Bucs D that hasn't allowed any touchdowns to opposing tight ends. So it's going to be tough for Higby to get here, because I really see him as a tight end dependent, touchdown dependent player this week. So I'm benching him. I got Marquez Callaway. That's just been an absolute disaster, and he's taken on Bill Belichick. Not too thrilled about that one. I think Jameis might get his brain put in a blender. And then Daryl Henderson. We got questionable. He left the game last week. He's sitting at questionable with a rib injury going against the Bucs D. I think just reading all those out loud, it's a recipe for disaster. So just park him in your bench for now, make sure he's healthy, and maybe hope for a little bit better of a matchup.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I really like those, especially the Henderson. I'm not even sure if he's actually going to be able to be a full go. Marquez Callaway like that as well. Also like fading Jameis Winston. Tyler Higby, Sony Michel, if he does fill in for Henderson, still don't like either of those. I really, really love Chris Godwin and Cooper Kupp in that game. I feel like there's going to be a ton of offense for the safety blankets. You'll have like your Mike Evans really staying in check with Jalen Ramsey, and you'll have Robert Woods probably get held in check by maybe like one of those strong safeties or Carlton Davis. So I really love Cooper Kupp and Chris Godwin today. I think they're going to have huge days. Whether you're looking at props, DFS, you got to get all the usage you can out of those guys. Tyson Williams makes a lot of sense. He's been really good so far. My only knock on him is he's just really bad at pass blocking. Feel like that can take him off the field at certain times. Hopefully it's not in the red zone. But when they're running that veer, that triple option, obviously that's going to benefit Lamar, the running backs, everyone involved. So, and then Juju, absolutely love it. With Deontay out, I feel like Ben, like you said, not going to be able to check down the field as much to Chase Claypool, who I like less than Juju this week. Don't get to say that every week. And I like Sterling Shepard, but I still feel like there's kind of like a roulette to the whole like Giants wide receiver situation.
I can agree with that just because, going into the season, we thought that too, but what has any of the other ones really, I feel like, done this
Absolutely.
year?
Well, I guess when I think about that, like I just think of that image of Darius Slayton just letting a football go through his hands wide open in the end zone. You know what I mean? Like that play he could have just finished that play and he would have had a booming night. He would have had 2 touchdowns, whatever. And then we're probably talking about the situation a little bit differently, right? Like if you look at those stat lines after that, or if Dan Jones even gets like that rushing touchdown, right? They had that holding penalty where his rushing touchdown got held back. Maybe someone else's lines don't look as good after stuff like that. You know what I mean? So they're just a weird team. We're going to get to the preview here soon. I'm not like in love with that game by any means. I feel like it's kind of a trap situation.
It's definitely a trap.
Oh yeah. We got Shamir back in the chat asking CEH or Aaron Gordon.
Is it Aaron Jones or Melvin Gordon? Yeah. Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll go Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I'll go Melvin Gordon too because I feel like he'll get a touchdown. And CH, I honestly don't know. Watch this be the week that CH goes off for like 40 points.
I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll get to that game here pretty soon as we're going to roll into our previews now. First game we got up is the Arizona Cardinals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. While we are going over our preview, guys, anyone in the chat, please, floor us with questions, comments, whatever. We'll definitely get you up on the board and go over everything. And actually, really quick, someone had just tweeted at us on Twitter about a flex question with Dalvin Cook out. Who would you guys rather have, Myles Gaskins or Sony Michel, full point PPR? I told him Myles Gaskins. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would have to do Myles Gaskin too because I know that's a committee down there, but I think he's the lead back. Sony Michel hasn't done anything, and he's never really been a great receiving back too. So I'd go Gaskin.
What do you think, Steve?
I'm in agreement. I think you got to go Gaskin there. We haven't seen enough out of Sony Michel. Maybe this is a game with Henderson, questionable to go in. Maybe we see a little bit more than him. But I think this team's passing attack is just good enough where they're not too worried about who's going to be taking, a handful of snaps.
Absolutely. I'm going to Gaskin as well, and I'm starting him myself in multiple spots. So I like him a lot this week. That was the question from Adam Karnak with the Bear Down podcast. Appreciate the question, Adam. All right, let's jump into our first game here. Like I said, we got Cardinals coming in to Jacksonville. Road favorites, -7.5 on the spread, -370 on the money line. Over under is at 51. I really like the Cardinals to cover the number. Win, I do not trust the total. I'm not sure Jacksonville can answer the call this week. I'm not sure if they score more than 2 touchdowns. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this game is actually one of my 5 favorite bets for the weekend, at 7.5. I just feel the Jags offense is very turnover prone, and it's just very confusing. You have a young quarterback, as great as Trevor Lawrence is and all the hype. You have a running back and James Robinson. You should be leaning on quite a lot more, and you're just not doing it. I don't know what Urban Meyer's doing, and he's got 5 interceptions in 2 games, right? So I think I'm going to go with the Cardinals to cover this. I think they can score, and their secondary is they can make some plays. Especially with Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt coming off the edge. I think they'll be able to cover the spread quite easily because I think Trevor Lawrence is going to make some more mistakes, and not a lot of people are talking about that. He's got quite a few bit of turnovers in just 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, 3 and then 2, right? 3.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got fumbles, but I know at least 5 interceptions.
It's not good. The play calling's bad. The usage of some of these players is just irresponsible. I mean, look at DJ Shark. He had 12 targets week 1. I don't know if everything's all downfield and they're just missing on everything, but find him in space. Draw something up for him where he's not having to win a one-on-one battle. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, absolutely love the Cardinals this week. Any props do you guys like? Steve, what was your pick too?
It seems like a trap game though, just because of that half point last week. I was all over Cardinals -3.5 against the Vikings, and that seemed like a absolute mortal lock, and then it wasn't there. So I'm a little bit hesitant here. Gun to my head, I'm gonna go Jaguars +7.5. Actually,
would you just take the Cardinals at 7, 6.5?
I'd take him at 6.5 for sure.
Yeah,
buy it down a point.
Yeah, I would just say to buy the point down, because what's better, banking on a half point or buying a full point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel better about a 6.5 point? Is it still, to me, seems like it's kind of going to be a trap game? Probably. But I mean, I still will have some coin in this, whether it be spread or maybe I even touch the over under.
I don't know. I'm kind of feeling the under here. What do you think, Emron?
I actually think I'm going to go with the over here. I think there's going to be some garbage time points from Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
I think the Cardinals are going to. I think they're going to just put on a clinic against them. I think the Cardinals might be dropping between 30 and 40 points, and I think all you need at that point from like the Jags is what, 20 points, 21 points. And I think they're going to try to fight at home. I don't think they're going to be able to cover 7.5, but I think this could be like maybe, I don't know, 35, 24 or something like that.
24, wow. For Lawrence?
I think it's going to get a garbage time point. Yeah, it'll look closer than it actually is. I feel like maybe a late touchdown with a couple minutes to go that makes the 35-17 game look like 35-24 when it really wasn't that close.
I'm sitting at like 31-14, 31-10. I'm not buying in on the Jags putting up a lot of points this Sunday. So I'm going to go with the under there. It seems like, I thought the Houston Jags game should have gone to the over week 1. No. Yeah. No. And then we had Joe in the chat asking about Hopkins in this game. It's really tough for me because typically I'm very pro, like, hey, you got to start your guys. You drafted this guy in the first round, second round, whatever it is. Start your studs. But, man, he says he's got Jamar Chase. Like, I feel like Jamar Chase is in line for a big week. You got T. Higgins out.
Yeah.
It's a really good matchup. I'm on the Bengals. I'm assuming that they're going to upset and they're actually going to win outright. I think I'd just go ahead and just throw in Chase.
Yeah, and I'd ask Joe. Joe, if you're still with us, who else? What are your other options? Because I think Chase should be in your lineup regardless, unless you have some rich of receivers. So I'd love to see who else you have on your team. We want to help you get off that 0-2 schneid and get to 1-2. So I think Chase should be in your lineup regardless, but I'd love to see what other options you got.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next game here. We got Colts and Titans. Colts coming in as road dogs, +4.5 on the spread, +200 on the money line. Over-under is at 47 points. Titans favored, -240 on the money line. What do you guys think here?
Give me Tennessee to cover that 5. The Colts don't like. Yeah, it's 4. Okay, it's 4.5. So I've seen the line being moved this morning, so that's good to know. But I just don't trust the Colts right now. They're fighting, but it's just I think they're going to be one of those teams that finishes the year with like 4 or 5 wins. They're in every game, but I just don't think they're good enough to win. Wentz is hurt, banged up pretty bad. And overall, even before him getting hurt, the rest of the team was already banged up. So I think the Titans got that huge win in Seattle. I think they're back on the groove.
Okay. What do you think, Steve?
I'm in agreement. I think that the Titans are going to run away with this. They haven't looked great through 2 weeks. AJ Brown's drop issue is obviously become a concern. But this Colts team, do we even see a full half of Carson Wentz with his sprained ankles? And beyond that, Jacob Eason didn't look very good when he came in. And, beyond that, I'm not even sure who it is. So it's tough for me to get behind anything Colts. So I'm going to have to ride Tennessee on the spread and on the over-under. I'll go with the over.
Yeah, I like the over here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me I'm supposed to take the Colts at 4.5 today, at plus 4.5. They covered 3 last week up against the Rams. I don't trust them. I don't trust Carson Wentz, but I like the pieces that they have on offense. Like they can really spread the ball around. Michael Pittman's been looking good. Zach Pasquel's been looking good. Jack Doyle kind of entered the scene last week, and they have Hines and Taylor there. Like, if Wentz can play through this whole game, I really believe they can cover that plus 4.5. I think that the Titans are a lesser team than the Rams. I think that the Colts, they were in the red zone a lot last week. They just could not finish in the damn red zone. So something tells me that I should take them at plus 4.5, but I'm not actually going to do it. I'm not going to pick them to win. My best bet in this game is the over. I still feel like the Colts will move the ball down the field. They'll get into the red zone, and they'll hopefully learn from their mistakes last week and take some free fucking points. They were letting Wentz go for it on 4th down. They were letting Wentz throw it on 1st down. Like, the play calling was just trying to be a little too cute, a little too creative, right? Keep things simple. Trying to pound the rock with Jonathan Taylor in the red zone. Try to feed a couple of screens to Hines. He can take an 8 or 10 yard screen to the house, whatever it is. I'm going to take the Titans to win, but I feel like the Colts can cover and we go to the over here. But my best pick is definitely the over. So we got Joe back here. Thank you for continuing to listen, Joe, as we you're being patient with us. We've got Hopkins, Metcalf, Shepard, Chase, and Sutton start 4. Yeah, man, I think I feel good about keeping Hopkins out. I mean, unless we get a lot of really good information between now and kickoff, like those guys that you have there are good starts this week. Metcalf, good matchup. Shepard, good matchup. Chase, great matchup. Maybe Chase not great matchup, but more work, more production. T. Higgins is out, right? I think all signs point to still benching Hopkins this week. You guys with it?
Yeah, I agree. I'll stick to my philosophy though. I think if Hopkins stays, I would sit Sutton and start Hopkins. The matchup is just too good. I think he'll find a way to get his. So just keep an eye on that, Joe, until we get to kickoff at 1 on the East Coast. And then just start Sutton instead. But I think you have a lot of good options.
Yeah, I feel really comfortable with them. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have really hit it out of the head. The other receivers, it's solid. So if you got to make that pull, then I think there's a lot of people you can fire up right there.
Joe agrees. Just says he needs that backup support. Hey, we're your support group, man. We're here every Sunday, also Thursday and Monday nights. But it's different talk for different day. We got Jeffrey Mason saying PPR need 2 wide receivers and a flex. We got Zeke, Rondell, Corey Davis, Devante Smith. So instantly red marker over Corey Davis. Definitely not Corey Davis. No, thank you.
Same.
Like Zeke a lot. Really tough here between Rondell and Devante Smith. We've just been talking about potentially benching Hopkins. Rondell is actually the leader in the league right now for yards after carry per reception. So he's catching the ball and he is taking it deep. He's doing a lot with the ball after the catch. So I think I go Rondell and Zeke here. Devante Smith a short second to Rondell.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, real quick, I think from Jeffrey's question, looks like he can. He needs 2 receivers and a flex. So I think that would be 3 players if I'm reading that correctly. So yeah,
just red marker over Corey Davis.
Yeah, Corey Davis. We love Rondell more, especially if Hopkins is not playing that much. And then he has Smith and Zeke. So I'll keep it sweet. No Corey Davis for me.
Yeah, same here. What do you, Steve? You agree?
Yeah, fun fact for Rondale Moore, through 2 weeks, he has as many fantasy points as routes ran. 36 fantasy points and 36 route ran. So if we can just get that a little bit, that usage uptick even more, oh, man, he could be something special.
Yeah. Joe says, thanks, watch Hopkins go off. Yeah, that's typically how it goes. I own Hopkins in a couple of spots. I haven't decided what I'm doing with him yet in each scenario. It's just 2. So like my Scott Fishbowl team, he's on there. Really need him to show up this week. Same thing with another like Dynasty League. Actually, our Dynasty League, I have him. But at that one, I'm a little safer. Like I've got Terry McLaurin, Robert Woods still. Like I've got some decent pieces, but the bench just isn't as deep. Let's see. In your opinion, would you start Rams defense versus the Bucs today or the Titans? They have a shot to play a backup today. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there is a little bit more appeal to the Titans. I was saying earlier that I do believe the Bucs might be able to get to Matt Stafford. Maybe they get an interception. Maybe they even get one of the house. But more than likely, they're still going to have a more than a bountiful amount of points scored on them. Personally, I would stay away from the Rams defense, but you're asking someone who doesn't play team defense, so IDP.
Yeah, so for team defense, I don't want any part of the Rams defense today. I love the defense. Normally, the game is going to be a shootout. If your league does negative points, you may get negative points from this. It's not because the Rams are bad, but this is just going to be a high scoring game. So I think I would ride with the Titans here.
Yeah, I'm in agreement just because you saw you saw the the Bucs Cowboys game from a few weeks back to kick off the season. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we're going to see in this game. Just two quarterbacks slinging the ball around, stuff like that. So, yeah, I would probably ride with Tennessee.
Yeah, same here. All right, let's get back to the previews. We're looking at the Ravens coming into Detroit, road favorites, minus 7.5 on the spread, minus 380 on the money line. Over under here is at 50.5. I keep it pretty simple. Give me the Ravens, cover, win. I think we can hit the over here. I mean, Detroit, they don't really want to go away. They are problematic. They do, turn the ball over, put the ball on the ground here and there. But it seems like it's all about just hitting guys underneath, not really taking a lot of shots downfield and just trying to move the chains. I think we can hit the over. What do you guys think?
I'd be the same. This line, when I wrote my article, actually was at 9. It came down this week all the way to 7.5. So it would tell you that people were hammering the Lions at 9. So I think I'm going to ride with the Ravens as well. I think they can handle 7.5. But like I mentioned earlier, the Lions are really pesky. I think they're going to stick around, but I think they'll still lose by 8 or more. So I think the over is in play.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Steve?
I totally think this over is in play. I know that I think 3 defensive starters for the Ravens all went on the COVID list this week, and I don't know about their testing and their 24 hours between testing, but it did not seem like they were going to be able to make this game. 7.5 then too, with that coming down, like Imran said, I do like that, but I think I like the over even more here.
Yeah, I really trust the Ravens to cover the minus 7.5. I would have taken them to cover the 9. So like that, like the win, like the total. You're good with the total, right, Imran? You said?
Yes, sir.
All right,
love that over.
All right, next up, we've got the football team traveling from Washington up to Buffalo, coming in as road dogs, plus 7 on the spread, plus 290 on the money line. Over under is at 45.5 points. I actually like the over here. I mean, and I also like the Bills to cover the 7. They just beat the Dolphins 35-0. I'm not saying that they're like comparable teams, the football team and the Dolphins, but they both have pretty good defenses and they both have, pretty sound pieces in offense minus the quarterback position. So I think we're going to see some similarities from last week's game, minus the Bills playing at home. Give me the under. I'm going to take the under here. We're about to go kind of through a slew of slower games, but I'm going to take the under here. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I like the under, honestly. Washington football team still with Heineke. I don't know how much they're going to do against the Bills. And the Bills haven't necessarily been that super high-scoring team that we've seen recently. So I will take the under there. And then if I had to pick my side, I'd love to take the Bills down to 6.5. But I'd be all over that.
Yeah,
I think they can win by 7.
Yeah, so for me, I like the football team at getting a touchdown. I think they'll keep this game close. I like the under as well. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. I see this being like maybe a 24-17 type of game. Nothing high scoring, but in the middle somewhere. So let me give you the football team, and I'll take the under here.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, you're taking the football team to cover?
To cover, yes.
Dang. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I trust Antonio Gibson today. Who would you feel more comfortable starting, Gibson or J.D. McKissick?
Gibson.
Yeah, Gibson.
I hope he catches some passes this week. He's going to need to. We got Matt saying, "Yo, what's up, guys? I just snagged Madison off waivers. I'm wondering who I can start him over. I've got Tyson, James White, Hollywood, and Rondell in right now. I mean, James White seems like the only option.
Yeah, Tyson's staying in for sure. He's a stud. Yeah, James White, take him out.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, they really, really split up the touches there so far with New England. So I'm good pulling James White out for Madison. But full disclosure, I don't expect a ton from Madison. You know, I've been saying I like KJ Osborne more this week than I like Madison. So tread lightly still. But I like the play either way. I like where your head's at. It says, "Oh yeah, and fuck McCaffrey." Yeah, well, don't fuck McCaffrey. I mean, the dude's just trying to, run his lights out for you. He's just trying to get you like 1 billion fantasy points, and he pulled a hamstring. It happens. No big deal. Back. He'll be back. Exactly. He was knocking on the door to come back every week last year. Okay, like his injury was not that serious. He was cramping in week 2 before the game even ended, and they pulled him. Like, it's not really something to be too worried about. He's going to be just fine.
It is. To touch on that, I do think, though, what a ride it's been for Christian McCaffrey and fantasy owners dating back to that year that he just went absolutely nuts and bonkers and was putting up 30 points every week. And now it's like last year was obviously devastating. And then we get into this year and you're like, all right, let's go. Me included. I have him in our sleeper league. Mm-hmm. And now it's just, another 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And think you could have traded him to me for Jameis Winston.
No, it was Deshaun Watson.
Oh, that's what it was. My bad. Deshaun Watson.
Still probably should have took that damn trade.
Well, maybe you'd definitely be thinking yourself next year. We got Matt in here. Also, I see a Bears fan. A couple of them, yeah. Fields or Tannehill today. I still got to go Tannehill. Love the kid. I hope he finds a lot of success, but I got to go Tannehill.
Yeah, I think as much as I love Fields, I think Tannehill's he's your stud. He's been solid. In my league personally, I actually traded for Fields, and I was at a rich receiver, so I think he's going to take off. I'm starting him this week actually over Derek Carr because I think he's got a lot of potential for touchdowns. Because I think last week one of the things folks missed is if you don't watch the Bears, and if you're not a fan, you probably did see this, but if you watch box score, you're like, Fields was 6 of 13. He threw a pick, had a fumble, shitty game. But what you don't see is Allen Robinson dropping a 40-yard wide open touchdown. You don't see Jimmy Graham being a lazy piece of shit on a read option where it could have been a second touchdown, right? So he could have easily had, at least 2 touchdowns in that game. So the potential is there, but it just depends on who you have, right? You don't want to start potential because then that's how you lose games. So Tannehill, yes, but keep an eye on Fields because that schedule gets a little bit soft. He gets the Lions, he gets the Raiders, he gets those, cheesy fucks from Wisconsin. So, he'll be able to do some work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a home run for me.
Forget all that. I'm going Justin Fields. It's time, baby. Bear down. It's here. This is the coming out game. I did see an interesting fact that if Allen Robinson would have caught that touchdown last week, his passing percentage would have went up. I believe it was like 100 and something points.
It's QBR, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's QBR. That's what it was. And it was like right there. That means we're good for the future. Fire him up every week from now on.
Yeah, and we were talking about
hold the.
We were talking about this earlier. Like the Browns' defense on paper, it looks great, but so far they've been disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next one up here, we got the Saints and the Patriots. Saints coming in as road dogs, +3 on the spread, +128 on the money line. Over-under is at 43 points. I'm taking the under. A lot of defense in this game, and I'm taking the Patriots to cover and win. Saints, big question mark after last week, after that loss to the Panthers. Maybe they can respond offensively, but I still think they only score like a couple of touchdowns. I see like a 17, 14, 21, 17 type of game here.
Good, Steve.
Yeah, so honestly, if I'm betting this game, I'm probably just taking the money line one way or another. If just because it's sitting so low. If I had to pick on the spread, this is tough. I think I'm going to go Patriots -3. I think Belichick on that defense is going to give some odd looks to Jameis to try and bait him in to throw some of those interceptions that he's so prone to doing. And I'll go under as well. Kind of two boring teams underperforming. Well, I guess the Patriots not as underperforming because they're, they got their rookie quarterback, but Saints underperforming.
Definitely, hands down.
I agree with both of you so far. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and the Saints are really weird, right? They're an enigma. Week 1, they beat the shit out of the Packers. Week 2, they get their ass kicked by Carolina. Which team are they, right? It's two extremes. I think they're closer to the Week 2 team. We saw Jameis be Jameis throw those YOLO balls, right? And it just made you cringe. I think he's going to have a couple more of those today. I love the Patriots here. I think they'll cover the 3, maybe win by more, and I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. That under 43 is pretty low when you see all these 54s, 57s, 50s, but I think that it's still going to be under that 43.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a Patriots defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown prop this week.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Give me that all day. All right, next up, one that I really like. Might be a good one to get a prop in for Autism Society of America fundraiser. Chargers road dogs +7 on the spread, +255 on the money line. Over under is at 54.5 going into Kansas City. Kansas City -305 on the money line. Again, that over under 54.5. I like the Chargers to cover. 7 seems a bit too much for me. What do you guys think?
I agree. It does, especially the Chiefs. I think what we're also seeing, right, they're not as good as they were in years past. I think they're getting a little bit of benefit from the past reputation. I think 7's a lot. Chargers had a weird game last week, like over 400 yards of offense. They didn't punt, I think, but once, but only scored like 17 points. It was a really weird game. So they can move that ball. So give me the 7 with the Chargers. I think the Chargers can cover that touchdown. I think it's going to be a close game and a high-scoring game. I think they're going to cash in on those touchdowns this week.
Yep, absolutely love it. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I think they can cover. I like them to cover. I like the over also. I think this can be a shootout. Mikey Williams down the field. I think he can get him the ball quite enough, Herbert. So I'm going to take them to cover. I don't think they win, though, and I will ride with the over.
I think I feel good about the over in this one. I do, because both quarterbacks love to throw the ball downfield. The Chargers still have a lot of weapons. Kansas City can always move the ball still. Like Tyreek Hill only had 4 targets last week. 4 targets and 3 catches. I think less than 20 receiving yards. Like I have to imagine it's going to be, a goal of theirs to really get him rolling early on, at least get him some touches, some manufactured touches early on in this game. So I like the over as well. Give me the over 54.5. Give me the Chargers to cover. Can the Chargers win? I mean, +255. I mean, this game's pretty close. I feel like this should be like +125.
Yeah, it seems like it could be there. I think the biggest difference is in Kansas City, correct?
They're playing at home. They're playing at home. But
Chiefs at home. That's why I think it's probably skewed like that.
Yeah, I don't think it should skew it as much as it is. I really see this as more of like a +125, -140 type of game. Still in favor of the Chiefs. They are the home team. Historically, the past few years, they've been the better team. Chargers, I think Joey Bosa is questionable in this one. I'm not sure of his status right now.
So.
If he was out, then maybe I feel a little bit differently even about the spread. But I still feel really good about this one. I think it'll be a close game, high scoring. And I think there is still a good amount of upside here for the Chargers to win this one. If you can get the Chargers at a plus option money line with them with a lead, maybe you do that live. I don't know. I feel like that spread's a little bit big. I was hoping one of you guys would be on the Chiefs so that I could throw out a prop bet or something like that. But that's all right. That's all right. No worries. Emron, you still got to pay up for that Chargers loss to the Cowboys.
I got you.
I got you. I'm good for it.
I'll Venmo you now.
No. You go to the charity. Next up, we got Atlanta Falcons, New York Giants +2.5 for the Falcons. Road dogs. New York Giants -2.5 on the spread. Giants favorites -146 in the money line. Falcons +126. Over under is at 47.5 points. I want to stay as far away from this game as possible. I don't want anything to do with this game. I'll take no one to cover. And I just don't know. I have no idea who's going to win this game. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think this is a game that Steve, didn't you call this the shitty shootout earlier? I think that's exactly what this is. I don't want to touch this game. I'll pick the Giants because they're at home, and I think they're both teams screw up enough to be a lot of points and it's the overhits, but staying away from this one.
See, I feel like they can screw up enough to not score enough points. I don't
go either way, yeah.
I have no idea.
This is just a gambling game. I mean, like anyone betting this is just, I mean, no one's actually watching this game. So I mean, I'd be inclined to throw something on Atlanta's money line, but that's about all I'd touch here.
Yeah, but like, what do you throw on that? Because I was thinking, I was like, oh, it's not. These numbers are nice for like for a parlay if you can pick the right one.
That was my.
There's not a single rate more than -146. You know what I mean? Like all the rates look good. The numbers that they've posted look terrible. like if you gave me like a 7 in here, I would just take whoever. I don't even care. Just give me +7, whoever it is. I don't give a shit. But these numbers, I don't know what to do here. 2.5.
Oh, I'm not touching spread at all. If anything, I'm going money lines or including those in parlays like you had alluded to.
Right. And we saw the Giants in their last game. Like they had 3 opportunities to score a touchdown and win their game. They wound up losing by 1. They covered the spread, but they could have blown it open. You know what I mean? So I don't know who to trust here. Let's move on past this one. I don't think any of us are invested in props in this game or anything like that.
No.
Not at all.
Next up, we got a real simple one here. Bears gonna do the damn thing. Traveling to Cleveland, +7.5 on the spread, +285 on the money line. Over unders at 44.5 points. Browns -355 favorites. Boo! That's a terrible number. I hate it. But I do love the +285, and I do love the +7.5 for the Bears. I think it's pretty easy to know where I'm riding today. You guys are probably the same, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, normally cautiously optimistic, but this week just kind of looking at it analytically, right, trying to remove the bias from it. The Browns are banged up, right? Baker's banged up. There's no Landry. The Browns are a running team, right? The Bears are really good against the run. They've only allowed 2 100-yard rushers in the last year without Eddie Goldman, and he might actually play today. So I think the Bears can definitely cover the 7.5. And like we saw last week with the Browns, right? They played the Texans team, which is far worse than the Bears, and they had their hands full until Tyrod Taylor got injured. So I think Fields can do a little bit more, and they got a week to implement the offense. And also, no one minus a couple of plays and a really watered down offense right now. Last week we saw against the Bengals. No one knows how the Bears are going to use Fields. There's a lot of element of surprise there, and this Browns defense hasn't gelled. So I like the Bears 7.5. Let me go with the over because I think there'll be enough points. Slightly hits the over. So I think the Bears are going to win outright. I think they're going to just win outright, but I like the over as well.
Yeah, I think we can hit the over there. My only concern, honestly, is the Browns. I don't know how well they're going to, or how many touchdowns they're going to put up. Like, I trust Nick Chubb. I don't trust anybody else in the entire team, at least on offense, I should say. On offense, I trust Nick Chubb and no one else. Baker could make some mistakes. I don't know. What do you think about this one, Steve? Keeping it clean?
Yep. I am keeping it clean. I like Bears plus the points here. I just think that the Browns are on the verge of being a top team in the AFC. But I just think that they're not quite there with just a rash of injuries they've had and things like that. I think the Bears with a new quarterback, how are they going to game plan for him? They saw him a little bit last week, but now we have now the Bears have a full week of preparation. I love Bears plus 7.5.
Yeah. Are we so bold as to take the money line? Emron, I think you sprinkled something on there, right?
Yeah, I did a two. I've been telling all my buddies this week, I'm all on the Bears and the Rams to win outright this week. So I did a $10 parlay on the Rams and the Bears to win straight up. I think it pays out $80.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. I don't know if I'm so bold to put it on the money line just because we're also on the road, but man, I just feel really, really good about Fields. I had posted some Twitter, if you guys follow the network, the channel, that I'm a big hockey guy, and my Chicago Blackhawks are getting Jonathan Taves back, and they had showed like some highlight clip of him as a rookie, like his like amazing YouTube like highlight reel goal. And I just remember like thinking back to like, before the Blackhawks were just like amazing, before they were great, they were just so god awful.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bears haven't been that, you know what I mean? Like we've been going to the playoffs, we've been knocking on the door, and this just feels like that same type of feeling I'm getting, like we're about to make a huge change, we're about to make a big step forward. And man, like I really hope I'm right, because I'm going to be heartbroken if we just fall on our faces. So all the good vibes are there, all the feels are there, hoping we can cash in on them. Hopefully Fields is the next big thing. With Dalvin Cook being out, do I start Madison with confidence this week? I don't know if you will have confidence, but I think you probably start him. If you would like to share your other options, Andrew, we'd appreciate it, and that would help us out, so we can help you navigate your lineup. But I don't feel great about it, but it's good that you have him. If you drafted Dalvin Cook and you have Madison, cool. I own Dalvin Cook and I didn't grab Madison. That's just because I don't think Madison's that great. But you share the rest of your team with us, we can probably help you out a little bit more.
Yep.
Let's jump into the next game here. We got the Bengals and the Steelers, plus 2.5 on the spread for the Bengals, coming in as road dogs, plus 119 on the money line. Over under is at 43 points. I actually like the over still. I think the Bengals are going to score points and the Bengals are going to win. So give me the Bengals to win, cover, and the total to go over 43 points.
Yeah, I think I'm going to still go with the Steelers. Just need to see Joe Burrow. I think he's like now 0-10 or 0-9 on the road now. He hasn't won a road game in his career as in the NFL. I wish it was +3. I feel better. 2.5. I just feel like this is going to end up being a field goal game. So I'm going to go with the Steelers to win outright, and I think the over as well. I think this is a sneaky, this is a tricky number that they put out. I think they can, with these two offenses, even with they both being a little bit banged up, we got over action here.
Okay. Would you take? Let's say the number was 3. Would you take the Bengals to cover 3 then?
Yes.
Okay. Just buy the point, baby. Just buy the point. I'm looking at plus 2.5 at minus 105. That means that 3, you're still looking at like minus 115 or 120. So I love that. What do you think, Steve?
I'm all over the Bengals money line. The moment I saw TJ Watt ruled out, I was like, and Deontay. Then you have him ruled out. Then you have Ben, who's a little banged up. The Bengals defense might not be that great, but their offense can just kind of help that and put up points. So I sprinkled a lot on there. I also got at like a plus 156 number. So all over that. I hope they can win today. And I do want to see this Bengals. You kind of see it in front of your eyes. They are developing, and actually they brought in the right players. And so, as far as we've seen, they brought in the right players, and they're kind of laying the groundwork for them to be good for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. The defense is looking great. Joe Burrow, honestly, my opinion, right now, I mean, so maybe an overreaction, but we're only through 2 games. He looks like the best quarterback in that division. Mind you, Lamar Jackson is more of a runner. I mean, like
I was about to say, but yes, I do see what you're saying.
But you
know where I'm coming from, and everything,
Ben's showing that he's worn and torn. Lamar's just running the damn ball, and Baker's being Baker.
Yeah, I love Burrow. I think Burrow is just going to ascend as they continue to build around him. They got the weapons. Now they're going to continue to build that line, this is better than last year. I think he's just going to get better. And I just love the tenacity he plays with, And a lot of quarterbacks would have been broke, last week, throwing 3 straight interceptions, but came back and he kept fighting. I love his attitude, man.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, they were in that game, man. They were in it. They were not out of it. We got Big VA asking Bengals +7. Hammer it down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to buy it up? Absolutely. I love a touchdown. Give me a touchdown.
We got Jake in the chat. Yo. Wake up call, Jake. A little late today. It's okay. He knew that the Eagles preview came at the end. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got the Viva Miami Dolphins +3.5 traveling to Viva Las Vegas. Road Dogs +3.5 on the spread, +162 on the money line. Over under is at 44 points. No Tua Tagovailoa in this one, but I believe they're getting Will Fuller back. Is that right?
I did get Will Fuller back, but what's really weird is Brissett is starting, but that didn't affect the line at all. So that tells you Vegas does not care about Tua at all. And you think normally with a backup playing, that would affect the line significantly, but
right.
But when looking at the line, you couldn't tell who's playing. Brissett's not horrible. He's actually he's competent. He's not bad, but it's his first game of starting on the road. Give me the Raiders. I think the Dolphins can cover that 3.5 though. If it was 3, I'd say it'd be a push. The 3.5, I think they can cover that. I think it'll be a moderately high scoring game, so I think you can get that over. That half is really tricky.
The Miami Dolphins defense is going to be really solid, so that's what concerns me about that total. And I hear you on the spread as well. Like the Raiders, they're an iffy team too. Like if we look back to that Monday night game where they beat the Ravens, like they had multiple chances to end it in overtime, even at the end of the game, and they were just kind of whiffing on some opportunities. You know what I mean? So I personally don't want anything to do with the total. I probably lean towards the under just because I could see some mistakes on both sides. Jacoby Brissett stalling some drives. Will Fuller's first game back. Maybe he's not 100% ready to go. You know what I mean? Really love Myles Gaskin in that one because, Brissett's not a downfield threat really. Like he's not going to try to push the ball downfield. If I was his coach, I'd probably try to get a couple of shots early, but just to kind of get him warmed up. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Give me the Raiders just money line. I like working that into like one of my parlays, like the minus 182. It's really good value. I feel about them feel really good about them just winning the game. So yeah, I'll stay away from the spread, take the under and take the Raiders to just win outright. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I love the taking them just money line because you don't got to worry. But I really think the Raiders are going to roll in this game. The Dolphins' offensive line, put aside Tua and Jacoby Brissett, whoever they got back under center, their offensive line has been garbage, and hence is why Tua's out with a rib injury. So I don't see much changing in here. I do like the minus 178, but I have no fear laying 3.5 for this game. And if you don't feel 100% confident, drop that down a point. Half point gets you the push. Full point gets you a win if it's a field goal game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like buying the point there. I like doing that as well. I think they're going to win. So the minus 182 should I don't know. I don't like the word lock, but I think you should feel really confident in the minus 182 with the Raiders. You could probably find better value too, or you can buy the point on the spread, whatever. You're still getting great value. Let's see. We had some questions in the chat. Will the Raiders cover? They're at home. Absolutely. In the Death Star, going to get it done. The Force is with them. Jake says he's not doing any props for that game, for that Dolphins game. Jake's up a little bit late, so I don't know if he's going to have his props ready, but I bet by the end of the show he's going to have something big rolling across the bottom of the screen here. All right, next up we've got the Jets traveling to Denver, Mile High City. Jets coming in as road dogs, wouldn't have it any other way. Plus 10.5 on the spread, plus 455 on the money line, over under 41.5. Keeping it simple. Give me the under. Give me the Broncos. Give me the spread. I don't trust the Jets. No thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I'll keep it simple too. I mean, usually you take the double-digit underdog, but the Jets, it's a train wreck with Wilson right now, and the Broncos defense is the best he's played so far. I don't see it getting much better. So Broncos and under.
That's a hell of a number, though. 10.5. I that's a lot to be given on.
I've seen better teams cover less.
Yeah, but my gambling rule of thumb is I don't lay 10.5, anything over 10 to anybody because it's NFL. They're all pros, all 53 all the way down. So I do not believe in that. But I'd buy the half point on this one also. And this screams under to me.
Yeah, definitely screams under, but man, I do not want to touch that spread. I was telling Emron earlier, I took the Falcons live. I got 16.5, and I missed that. They were down by 3 in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Yeah. I double-digit spreads. I should just never touch them. I mean, I always say not to, and then I was like, 16.5. How could this happen? Oh, right.
This time it'll be different.
Mario Edwards. That's how. Mario Edwards. You bastard. All right, next up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Los Angeles, coming in as road favorites, -1 on the spread, -125 on the money line. Over-under is at 55.5. I still like the under in this one. I feel like there's a couple of defensive plays ready to be made here. You got playmakers on both sides of the ball, specifically on defense for both teams. I buy that up to 56, 57 and slam the under. I still like the under there. I think it's too tall. I agree with you guys. There's going to be a lot of offense in this game, but I could just see one of these defenses, ending a drive where we're supposed to be hitting the over last drive of the game, whatever it is, second to last drive. I could see some late defense really coming in clutch here. Like the Rams, like the Rams at home. What do you guys think?
Go, Steve.
I'm a Bucs guy, so I'm gonna go Bucs there. I think it's gonna be an awesome game. My eyes are gonna be glued to this the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna ride with Bucs. Tom Brady just kind of knows how to get it done a little bit easier than Matt Stafford.
Sure.
But I would just I don't know how many years back this was when we got a Chiefs Rams game and they both put up like 50-something points.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I would love to see something here. I think we got a little bit two better defenses that won't allow that, but something to the effect.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm on the Rams here as well to win outright. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em. I'm going with the over as well. Both teams have good defenses, but both teams' defenses have also been scored on. The Colts gave the Rams all they could handle last week, and the Falcons put up a lot of points as well. So both teams are vulnerable. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think there could be defensive plays, and I wouldn't be shocked to see a couple of defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about the Rams last week, but there was also did you see that weird play where the block man, like the lead block guy in the punt, his elbow tipped the snap or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
That gave the Colts like that last like touchdown to cover for sure, but also like what really kept it close. But as I was saying early in that game, the Colts were just coming right down the field. So the Rams were able to kind of correct down the line in that game, but still, the Colts were really able to move the ball into the red zone. It's just that when they did, the Rams halted them every single time. So I see what you mean. I'm just expecting someone on both defenses to make a play here and there. So, but like I said earlier, also really, really love Chris Godwin and Cooper Kupp in that game. I think Woods and Evans are going to have the shorter stick this week. All right, moving on. Last 425 game. Those
real quick. We got someone down here. Stephen Hammond says, "Great job on the under 2.5 Chris Conley prop on Thursday Night Football."
I pay that, okay. I pay my debts, okay. I saw that game and I said, "Fuck." I pull up my phone and I said, $10. I did it.
Okay. I like it. Just had to razz you there.
Steve, is your arm okay from patting yourself on the back?
There we go.
Yeah, don't let that back tap get a little too heavy. Maybe we'll find something in this one. This is a good game. This is a good game. Maybe we have some differing opinions here. Seahawks -2 on the spread, coming in as road favorites into Minnesota. -130 on the money line. Vikings +110. Over under is at 55. Now this 55, I love the over for. There ain't no defense to be found in this game.
Nope, I agree. Give me in this game the Vikings. I think the Vikings might win outright in this game. There's a chance for that here. 0-2, backs against the wall, lost 2 heartbreakers. Seattle's a better team. Seattle should win here. And I think, again, buckle in. This is going to be a fun one.
Okay. So are you picking a winner?
Seattle.
You're taking Seattle, okay. Steve, what do you think?
I'm taking Seattle. They can cover. I'd even stay away from that and just do money line on them.
Okay.
You're gonna at -131. Over under. Yeah, I say it's probably shootout is probably going to the over.
All right. So if I were to ask you, gentlemen, if I was to take the Vikings, you guys would be willing to throw down?
Yeah.
Money line.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
All right, sounds good. So we got $10 prop bet. Flag is thrown. Could have just knocked off my microphone. I'm glad that I didn't. That's really great. But yeah, that's for our Autism Society of America fundraiser. I would really appreciate any support you guys can provide. We're taking donations. You can text to the Hizzy to 44-321. We're doing these prop bets every week. Last week I took home 10 on Emeron, Cowboys versus the Chargers. I got the upset there. Steve got me this last Thursday on Chris Conley. He had the under 2.5 catches. I was saying they were going to feed him early and often. I had to bait Steve into that one. So, I mean, it's really on me that I lost that because I was just like, all right, let's throw down that one. So, yeah, we're going to throw $10 on that. If you guys could help us raise some money for the Autism Society of America, we'd really appreciate it. Just trying to leverage our time here every week for some good out in the world. So, next up, we've got the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. Packers road dogs. Aaron Rodgers coming home to California, +3 on the spread, +140 on the money line. Over under is at 50.5 points. I think I'm taking Aaron at the +3, guys.
I'm taking Aaron money line. I mean, like, where did this line come from? Really, that's out of all the lines. This is one I didn't understand.
So it came from the fact that the Niners, when healthy, they always spank Aaron Rodgers, and Robert Saleh's no longer there, who was the architect of that defense, and I think a little bit of history is coming into play. But I think, I didn't forget week 1 when the Packers got spanked by the Saints. I'm not just going to throw that under the rug. I think there was a lot of things exposed in that game. Give me I like the Packers. I'll take the Packers 3, but I think the Niners are going to win this game outright, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game with the over.
I can't wait for this game, to be honest with you. This game should be a great Sunday night game. I'm very excited for it. I mean, we just saw the Packers and Aaron Jones in prime time this last Monday. That was amazing. Yep. So hoping for something the same. Give me another 5 touchdowns from Aaron Jones. That would be helpful. I won a matchup this week, by the way, from Aaron Jones that you have 4 touchdowns? 3?
Yeah, I think it's 4, yeah.
Yeah. So when I went to bed that night, I was winning a matchup that I had Aaron Jones. It's my first pick in that draft. It was like a keeper league. And I went to bed up like half a point. Crazy win. I was like, wow, I shouldn't have won this game, right? I wake up and I'm losing by half a point. I'm like, all right, I probably shouldn't have won. That was a crazy game. Kind of, you take your licks, you on to the next one, right? Thursday, I win again. This time by 0.01 on a Thursday from a stat correction. Thank you, Aaron Jones. I'm hoping for the same this evening. What are you guys doing with your San Francisco running backs, though? You starting Trey Sermon, Steve?
No, I can't.
No? Can't do it?
Not this week. They just added Kerryon Johnson, too, so does that, muddle that backfield anymore?
Yeah, I'm going to start him. I mean, I'm honestly, like, my options
Trey
are
Sermon?
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
Oh,
Trey
I
Sermon.
thought you were saying Kerryon Johnson. I said, pump the brakes, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. They just elevated it.
I'm gonna start Trey Sermon in 2 spots, actually. I mean,
I don't think that's bad. If you got him, go ahead and do it. Just because this is his first game and it's within that awesome running attack. So I do not, I don't hate that there.
Well, I mean, I'll see what happens. The places I'm starting him, like the leagues where I drafted Mostert, Mitchell, and Sermon. you know what I mean? So like I'm going to be starting one of them each week. Why wouldn't I? As long as I get better information, like Mitchell's either like super doubtful, not going to play at all. It doesn't sound like he's going to. It doesn't sound like he's going to have an active role. My only concern is that Trey Sermon was in that concussion protocol. He takes one really good hit, like he could be sidelined. That's the only thing that concerns me. But JaMychal Hasty is out, like he's not playing, so it just feels like there should be more touches for him tonight, and hopefully some manufactured touches early because I got to start him in like a 20-team league. Like I have to start him there. That's just like the play to make. And then in our league, in our sleeper, it's just like who has more upside do you think this week, Nyheim Hines or Trey Sermon?
Trey Sermon.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, even if he doesn't wind up having the game, I think he should. He has more upside. Like he should be the better play on paper.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention this.
They're so banged up. I agree. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. Go for it. No, I was just saying they're just so banged up. Normally, I'd be worried, but when Mostert gone, Hasty banged up, Mitchell, it's just he's like the last man standing now. And we heard all that hype in the summer. They traded up in the 3rd round to grab him. So. And that offense, we've seen anybody can eat in that offense, right? So I think it just makes too much sense. And the matchup, the Packers' run D is not that good.
It hasn't been so far, anyways. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm firing him up. I'm a little nervous about it. So, you guys kind of still give me mixed feelings, so I don't feel amazing about it yet. All right, let's get him up here. Okay.
Real quick, I just think Nyheim Hines, especially with a quarterback who's a little bit hurt, or if they have to move to a backup, that screams Nyheim Hines all day to me, because he's going to be getting those passes out of the backfield and doing something with it. So to me, it's tough.
Well, we got to get him in there first. You know what I mean? Like we need Wentz to go down. I mean, doesn't sound like a difficult task by any means. But still,
I think when you have two sprained ankles, and by halfway through the second, you're going to be feeling them pretty good. And from what we've seen from Carson Wentz, he's not a soldier. He ain't gonna get you across the battlefield. He's just a little too injury prone for me.
Yeah, I hear you. We also got Big VA in the chat asking about the Packers game over. I think I like the over there. I think I like that. I think there's plenty of offense from both teams. Going to expect a lot of Debo and Kittle tonight still. A lot to like about that game.
Yeah, I agree. Not thrilled with it being the Sunday night game, though, because we just had to watch the frickin' Packers on Monday night. I don't need them. I don't need them that much.
I feel you. I mean, as Bears fans, I think we all get that. But you know what's really nice about being a Bears fan and having the Packers on prime time this year? We get nothing but Aaron Rodgers versus the Packers in prime time all the time. Interviews. How was this offseason? What was really your mental space? Like how are things like processing in your head? What about the trades? What about the draft? Like it's just constant, just Aaron Rodgers versus the Packers. I absolutely love it when they're playing in prime time now. I think it's great.
Yeah,
it's just another reminder of how terrible they are.
Yeah, and I think I'm really curious to see, because there's a lot of teams this year so far we're talking about, right? That there have been so many extremes, right? Packers week 1, week 2, who are they, right? Same thing with the Saints. So it's a good matchup to see where the Packers are, right? The Niners are a good test for them, and that's a team that in the past has given them problems.
No, I love that game for a Sunday night game, honestly. Keep Aaron Rodgers in prime time. I can't wait to get an Aaron Rodgers jersey when he doesn't play for the Packers. I think he's awesome. I think he's great.
All right. You're towing the line there, bud, of being a diehard Bears fan.
Come on
now.
I got it. Jim McMahon wore his Bear jersey with the Packers, with a Brett Favre Super Bowl winning team, to the White House. Like there can be, it's like saying like, oh, you can't have Packer friends. Like I'm sure you got plenty of Packer friends.
I don't like them very much, but I do.
I don't have any Packers friends. I say, what football team you like? They say Packers. I say, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah. Justin equals Dre time. All right, last one up here. We got the Eagles and the Cowboys talking about rivals. Here you go, Driscoll. We got Eagles coming in on the spread plus 3.5 road dogs in Dallas plus 153 on the money line, over under 52 points. I like the over. I like the boys to win, and I like the Eagles to cover. I think it's a close one.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be a fun game. I think another one that has potential for high scoring. I think Dallas wins at home, but I think the Eagles are going to give them some trouble. So I go with the over and the Eagles to cover.
What do you think, Steve?
I'm looking at these lines. Go ahead, Justin. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles to cover the 3.5. I would still take them to cover 3. I think that they're going to do their role, to get to the over here. They're definitely going to provide a good amount of offense in this game. Cowboys think they probably cause a few turnovers, but probably in like prime real estate to get some easy touchdowns. But yeah, I think the Eagles can cover. I think it's close enough. It's a division game. These teams don't like each other. The Eagles' play calling seems really aggressive. Definitely scripted to start their games, which is good for a younger quarterback that maybe they don't trust a ton. Like starting Rieger this week, like starting Devante Smith, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert. I think Zach Ertz might be out of this game. I'm not sure. Maybe Driscoll could let us know that in the chat. But yeah, like I said, like the Eagles to cover, boys to win, and I like the total to hit the over.
Yeah, so I'm going to go opposite, actually. I think the Cowboys will run away with this. Their passing attack just too good. I know Philadelphia has done well. recently, though, against opposing wide receivers. But Dak and these wide receivers, they got just too much. I don't like really what's going on in the Eagles' backfield. So I got to take – I'm going to go -3.5, maybe when I'd want to move, maybe. But also maybe throw the money line in a parlay or two. I also love the over here.
Okay. Yeah, I like both money line picks. I mean, if you're on the Eagles, take them. You get the great value. Cowboys, if you don't trust the the cover, then grab them on the money line. All right, here we go. We got Driscoll saying Ertz is in. Will be a shootout anyways. And he says Devante Smith 100 yards easily. I don't know about easily, but I think he gets close to that number for sure. I'm singing the Eagles song, man. They're starting to grow on me a little bit. Like the play calling, like the aggressive looks downfield. Have to appreciate that as a fantasy person. And it's just a wide open division still. Like it's not clear cut and dry that the Cowboys are going to win this thing. So I think the Eagles come out really aggressive in this one, and I would not hate any plays on the plus 153.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. You guys got anything to add? That was the last game to go over here.
I do have – let me pull these up real quick because I am actually kind of intrigued by them. DraftKings. 2 parlays I have going for today's game. So I have a Chris Godwin anytime touchdown. He's cashed out for me a couple times. And you're getting that one at plus 168. But I really like Lamar This one I actually don't like as much, but it was worth a little sprinkle. Lamar Jackson and Tyson Williams both to have 100 yards. I could see that happening.
Oh, yeah.
And that was at plus 1,700. Okay. So I really like that. And then Lamar Jackson, 100 rushing yards, and Hollywood Brown to hit 100 receiving yards. Happened last week. You're getting it at plus 1,400, and they are taking on the Lions. So I like the value there. I do realize game script will be a little different than last week, but at those odds, it's worth throwing, $10 and get you that'll bring in a nice $170.
Yeah, I agree. I like those a lot. Like I said, I was big on Chris Godwin today as well, so those are right up my alley. I like it. All right, cool. You guys got anything else to pop off with here?
Nope. Excited for this first game of the Justin Fields era, man. Can't wait till we got what do you got? 2.5 hours.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. That's all I got. Let's get this dub. Let's move to 2-1, and and hopefully
could take a nice little lead if we get some help from the Niners.
Hey, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
And not to look ahead, not to look about past the Browns are a good team, but you got the Lions coming up, you got the Raiders coming up.
No, man, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I got all the good vibes, all the good feelings. Just gotta cash them in.
One of my buddies is actually talking to me, and he's like, "Could you imagine this stretch of a lineup like 3-4 years ago for the Bears? If we had the Bengals, then we had the Browns, I think then we have the Lions, and then we have, say, someone like the Raiders.
Yeah, that's right.
We'd be Super Bowl contenders if this was 4 years ago. Shit.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, look what happened to the Steelers last year with their schedule. It's like, 11-0 looks cool until you're 11-1.
Yeah.
And then 11-5.
And then we have the toughest schedule this year of any team. So
right. Exactly.
Yeah, it has its way of writing itself, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it always changes though with injuries and stuff, but take it 1 week at a time, and really excited for today's game, man. Don't have to get excited for some random read options in the game anymore. It's the full game plan. He's got a full week with the ones. I'm excited, and just I don't know, looking at the player, right, comparing him to like people like we've had in the past, it doesn't seem like the moment's going to be big for him. Like he's got like that cold-blooded assassin face. Like This is his team. He knows it, and he just exudes confidence. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to say it's impossible that he can't. It's not that he can't struggle. It's just I don't think it's going to be a lack of preparation or that he's shook.
Right, exactly. No, he's played in much bigger games. Like, going up against the Browns on a 1 p.m. afternoon game. Like, this isn't going to be nothing. Like, we're going to be just fine. Browns defense has been looking, better in recent years. Not so great so far this season. I'm hoping the kid knocks the door in, and hopefully the play calling is set up for him. Like, I don't want to see any of these like single back sets where he's just like huddling over the line. Like, give this kid the space and time to work. Get him some, guys out wide. If he needs to, he can, extend plays with his legs, whatever it is. Man, I'm just so excited. 1 o'clock and not come fast enough. Thank goodness that's on a 4 o'clock game because I'd be losing my shit. But we're gonna head out of here. What do we got here in the chat before we head out? Driscoll getting to the props. FanDuel has a field boost. Nice.
Oh, give me that all day.
Yeah, I like that a lot. More tempered expectations, 180 passing yards with like 85 rushing yards, but still that's too damn close to that to not stay away from that.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking was like 170 to 180 plus another 80 rushing yards and a couple of touchdowns, whether it's passing, rushing. I don't give a shit how he gets them.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, well, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. All our fans out there, really appreciate you riding with us. Take care, be well, be good, and if you can't be good at it. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.